live stream. Welcome back to WWE Monday Night Raw. We're gonna do a full. Sorry, I started this pretty late. Um, I had a lot of things to do here before I could get the video started. So I'm gonna make this video about an hour long, an hour and 15 minutes long. The video might be pretty short than my last video with Survivor Series. But we are gonna talk about Monday Night Raw. This is Jacob Cass 2024. We are going to talk about what happened on Raw tonight. This is how the show ended with Drew McIntyre making his return after Hell in a Cell with CM Punk. He attacked Sami Zayn. Clearly, he's the one that attacked Jey Uso. Now he attacked Sami Zayn. He attacked two members of the Bloodline. Is he still set with the Bloodline? He still can over the fact that the Bloodline cost him the title at Classic Champions, Classic Castle 2 years ago. Or maybe there's a new feud because Drew McIntyre, what's he gonna do on this show? Now make sure you guys hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. My video is sponsored by my favorite podcasters like JD from New York, Solomon Sound Off, Fightful Wrestling, Good Might Work Commentary, Joe Cronin, Post Wrestling, No DQ, and Wrestling Inc., and the other podcasters that I know of that do wrestling. Now this is how the show ended. So, alright. There's a lot to talk about. There wasn't that much on this show. I think the only thing that was important was the New Day 10-year anniversary. End of an era. Shocking heel turn. The New Day turned on Big E. They're done with Big E. It's gonna be just Kofi and Xavier. And they banned Big E from the New Day. We know that Drew McIntyre made a return. Seth Rollins and CM Punk, they're being set for a little bit. Drew McIntyre return. New Day done with Big E. We got a lot to talk about here. Now this is what we got on Monday Night Raw. Alright, so wasn't that much on the show? I thought the show was pretty boring. Wasn't that good? The only thing interesting was the New Day and the interacting with Punk and Rollins. Drew McIntyre made a return. Now this is what opened the show. CM Punk and Seth Rollins engaged in a chaotic brawl. They went back and forth. Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, they had to hold them back. Now we did get a segment with Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn challenging in a war. That was the main event of the show, as you guys saw. Pretty good match. Both of them are baby faces, so I guess it's just a one-off. We got Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Damage Control in this whatever match. Rhea Ripley came out. Raquel slammed Rhea's eye into the announce table. Now next week we are gonna get Raquel and Rhea in a match next week on Raw. So should be pretty good. Should be decent. I'm just waiting. I think a lot of us are waiting for the feud to be over. When is Rhea gonna move on with Liv? Now we know that Liv Morgan will defend the Women's World Championship against Io Sky at Saturday Night Main Event. They already made it official, so it will be on that pay-per-view on December 14th. Now when did Rhea get her title shot? That can be on the debut edition of when Raw goes to Netflix. We won't know. You gotta wait. Now we did get the tournament for the Women's Intercontinental title. Dakota Kai advances. She beat Katana Chance and Shannon Baszler. I think the match was like what 5 or 6 minutes. Match was nothing special. Dakota Kai got the win. She advances to the tournament. Um, Now here about day 7 of Who Attacked Jey Uso. I love that they told that story throughout the show. Now it wasn't gonna be Seth Rollins. It wasn't the Bloodline or Bronson Reed. It was Drew McIntyre. I'm pretty sure he's the one that attacked Jey Uso. I don't know why. Why did he feud with them again? Would that a way to bring back Drew McIntyre? Because he been off TV for 2 months in Bad Blood. We had a great vignette to honor the 10 years of the New Day. That was very good. We had Gunther defeat Dominic Mysterio in this non-title match, and then he got attacked by Finn Balor. They already announced that Gunther will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor at Saturday Night Main Event. It's already made official. I was hoping that they would add Damian Priest, but it doesn't look like that. Because Priest did get screwed at Survivor Series, so I think it could be a triple threat match, but instead we're getting Gunther and Finn Balor. Who knows, they could add in Priest because Damian Priest did get attacked by the Judgment Day after the show, after Survivor Series went off the air. Priest attacked Balor backstage, and then he got jumped by all Judgment Day. We did not see Priest tonight, so I guess Priest is going to sell the attack. He might sell the attack. To where, okay, maybe he might get involved in Saturday Night Main Event with Gunther and Balor. Maybe he might screw Finn Balor. That's what I think that they're going to do. We got R-Truth surprise over Pete Dunne. I don't know what this was, but Pete Dunne never going to live this name down. Somehow Pete Dunne got drafted by the crowd by Shannon Butts, and he lost to R-Truth in a quick. He rolled up Pete Dunne and won. I didn't like that at all. All right. Now let's see what else I miss here. We did get the New Day anniversary. Actually, wait a minute. First, I want to find the other podcaster before I can advance here. Hold on, I'll be right back. What's been having their problems? They've been just showing the other podcasters here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are live. Oh wait, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen. Alright, now let's show the other podcasters. We got Weasel Blonde and Denise Salcedo. But how long with this? Now let's see what Denise Salcedo has to say about this. This might take a while here. Try to rewind back. All of these big players like Rock and Roman and Cody and Punk, but truthfully, that this year with Drew McIntyre was so freaking good. Like he was, I would consider him like maybe like MVP of Monday Night Raw. I don't for 2024. Maybe it's debatable. I don't know. Excited. Let's do a countdown. The first
Denise and Santi. Ready, guys? Three, two, one. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever Raw Post Show with myself, Denise Salcedo, and Santi back here. It is December 2nd, and so I do want to start there. Let's start with Seth and CM Punk because this was something that we knew since the moment that CM Punk came into WWE, Santi. We were like, all right, they're getting this going with him and Seth Rollins. And
the return of Drew McIntyre. So there's just so many different points that they can hit with this feud, with this storyline, that it almost feels like they do need all of this time to build up to WrestleMania. Because some people would say that this is early, but this is such a large storyline that involves so many in-depth layers that it does make sense that they're starting it now. And it started last year at this exact same time. But like you said, the injuries prevented from that storyline fully playing out, right? Prevented us from getting the match. Fingers crossed that's not the case. But we're in for one hell of a build for this WrestleMania match. I'm assuming at least it's going to be a WrestleMania match. I can't see it not being that.
it's so weird because I don't even feel totally confident in saying that, right? Because then you also have, and I know it's even later than that is the 2 night SummerSlam event. So I'm like, okay, is this gonna happen at WrestleMania? Is this gonna happen at Royal Rumble? Of course, we all know that CM Punk has been waiting to get his WrestleMania main event. So this does seem like the biggest possibility. And given that they did last 10 months telling the Drew McIntyre CM Punk story, I do think that from now really kicking it into full gear with Seth and CM Punk, I do think that they can take it all the way through to WrestleMania. So this is going to be crazy. You mentioned the Sami Zayn portion of this, Auntie. For me, seeing them go back and forth here, what I liked about it was that everybody was making some valid points. Seth Rollins was throwing it into Sami Zayn's face that he's the one who that he's the one that side with Roman Reigns, and how dare he betray his friend Seth Rollins, kind of sounding a little bit like Kevin Owens here. But also, Sami Zayn fired back to Seth and said, "Hey man, you're the one who did this. You're the one who hit Roman Reigns with the chair." Seeing them both kind of bring up some good points here, how did that make you feel?
Well, you created that monster might be one of the coldest lines of the entire year. And I love that it's true. And Seth said, yeah, you're probably right. But don't forget, that monster was so bad that you did the same thing at the Royal Rumble and you also hit him in the back with a chair. So it's always refreshing when both sides have and Sami Zayn can't just play the blind idiot, shall we say, and not pretend that he also recognized how much of a monster he was and hit him in the back with the chair. So it's
the big point that you brought up there was seconds where I was going, oh shit, Seth Rollins is really bringing up some good points here. Oh shit, no wait, Sami Zayn is bringing up good, threatening to hit him with a chair. And Seth was basically saying, I didn't do it. And honestly, I believed him in that second when
after what happened with them and their history with Jay and the Usos, I thought of that as a possibility, but I never once thought that it was Seth Rollins. That to me was a universal feeling. He did when he's usually the level ahead.
that I saw this was okay, WrestleMania matchups are either going to be, these are my options. For Seth Rollins, I thought, okay, it's either going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk or it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, right? Those are two options there. For CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and or Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, because that is something that CM Punk said. He does have one thing in mind, and it's looking like it's that World Championship title. So I thought that that was going to be a possibility there. But so we got those sort of sides covered, right? But who is Sami Zayn's opponent? I don't know at this point. Drew McIntyre also didn't know because again he spent so much time with CM Punk this whole year that I feel like it left me going. I wasn't even expecting him tonight. I was expecting him until the Royal Rumble, and so now seeing where we're at here, you're right. It's either Sami Zayn or Jey Uso because what else are you going to do with those three guys? And those three guys also deserve their flowers because Sami Zayn has always sort of been, an MVP in Jey Uso has gotten tremendously over, so you want to see him get his flower.
From now, I know that we have Saturday night's main event, so I'm really talking after Saturday night's main event. This is when usually the WWE kind of enters what I call the triple threat stance, where you don't really know where things are going to go. Slowly build hype for the Royal Rumble and reminding us of who the true contenders are. It could be that as well.
It really could. Dude, I'm at the point now where I'm just like, damn, 2025 is going to be a crazy year. And I'm so glad that you mentioned Raw, the premiere. Wilson Jackson who did this. We could. Punk will lead to him possibly again being in the WrestleMania main event. Because, okay, let me ask you a question. When you think of WrestleMania, when you think of like, if this was Conti booking this, when you think about what you would see as like your main event match, like this is for me, they book this for me, this is the one I most want to see. What is your biggest main event for WrestleMania that you think at all of these parties?
Well, the world isn't ready for Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena yet. But that's the Santi booked main event right there. But I think right now, I would keep it simple. I would just do The Rock and Roman Reigns. We know how difficult it is to get The Rock scheduled to do something. So if he's available and that's the dream match that we've been waiting for a really long time, just do it. Just do it because we won't know when it'll become available again because of The Rock's ridiculous Hollywood schedule. It could be another 5 years before The Rock becomes available for a Mania main event. So if it's there, take it. If it's not there, then I kind of love this. I kind of love Punk, Rollins, and CM Punk. There's just so much history there with the creation of the Shield, the involvement of Paul Heyman, the hatred on screen and real between all of these guys. That's such a juicy main event.
Dude, okay, because when I think of my pie in the sky, I think, and it's obviously what we were teasing, they were teasing a whole lot on SmackDown right before Survivor Series, was CM Punk and Roman Reigns. But to me, like, that's the biggest money match that WWE can do. But I do think they might be saving that more towards SummerSlam, and especially with them shaking hands at Survivor Series, it feels like, all right, we're on the same page for now. For now. So even though that to me is the biggest match that I believe that they can do, I still don't think that's going to happen at WrestleMania. They might do it at SummerSlam. But let's get into this. Bailey Darley here says New Day was the best thing on Raw. So let's get to it. Damn. All right, we all knew what was going to happen. Right?
God freaking damn. Yeah.
When we found out that they were going to be doing the 10th anniversary celebration of the New Day, there's a lot of speculation, right, for weeks now. Is Xavier Woods going to turn on Kofi? Is Kofi going to turn on Xavier Woods? What side were you on first, Santi? Were you on Xavier or were you on Kofi? Or did you see what would happen today coming?
Okay. No one saw this coming. If anybody in the comments section is typing, yeah, I totally predict. No, you didn't. You're a liar. Just admit it. You did not see both of them turning heel and berating Big E. That was on no one's bingo card whatsoever. I actually thought that they were going to swerve us and it was going to be Kofi that turned heel, shall we say. But this is not what I was expecting. Something that I said to my chat during the live watch along was that this was the quintessential monkey's paws wish. You know what a monkey's paws wish is?
Right, when you wish for something and it comes true, but then you get something bad in return.
Everyone wished, I hope the New Day doesn't break up, and I hope Big E returns. We got it. We got all of those things, but we got it monkey's paws wish style with the return of Big E, who wanted to be a manager and was ready to make his full on-screen return, only to get annihilated verbally by both guys who united, and I guess the New Day's still a thing, and destroying the hearts of not just Big E, but everyone at home. So we got what we wished for, the New Day not splitting up. We got the return of Big E, but monkey's paws wish style. And I personally did not see this coming at all. This was brilliantly executed.
Dude, I thought that it was going to be, and I guess I had like the most basic prediction, right? I was like, oh yeah, Xavier Woods going to turn on Kofi, because to me, I didn't really see Kofi as a heel at all leading up to this. Like I saw Xavier Woods as like being super whiny and oh he's being irritating and look at all the awful things that he's saying and he's being super sensitive. So I thought like the most basic prediction, which was Xavier Woods turning on Kofi Kingston. And but here's the thing, we should have seen it coming, Santi. And you want to know what the biggest signal to me was? The fact that we did think that there was a possibility that Kofi would turn on Xavier Woods. Like we saw a couple of people throw out this prediction of, oh, it could be Kofi and it won't be Xavier. And I think at that point, I should have realized that they were both going to turn heel because people kind of saw the Kofi Kingston turn coming. I didn't. I was way off on this, but there you go. But here's the thing. Big E goes out there, and we haven't seen Big E come out on TV like this. Obviously, he's doing like pre-show and post-show panels and things like that. But to be on Raw, it's been a while. So he comes out, Santi, and you're seeing him like look at all the people, and you can tell like he's really missed having that point of view to get to see this entire audience, and he gets in there and he reminds them of who they are, and then they basically tell him you ain't shit, your neck ain't shit, and they really said, it doesn't matter. But so what that you broke your neck? Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck, Kurt Angle broke his neck, and they all came back and did their thing. And in that moment, when they said you broke your neck, so what? My jaw like fell to the floor because I never thought that I would hear those words of someone like totally just like dismissing someone's broken neck. And worst of all, people that were supposed to be your friend.
Oh, you put it perfectly. It was professional gaslighting to the max. And it was two gaslighters teaming up to gaslight one dude who was just defenseless, really, at that point. Because even though their points were stretches, they were delusionally right. I could see a world where two guys that have been dealing with loss after loss, or as the kids say, L after L after L, ever since Big E left. I could see them coping and manifesting their distaste and manifesting their what's the word that I'm looking for here? Their anger on an external factor. It can't be me. It can't be us. It has to be Big E. And at least from how I'm interpreting, this is something that they've been bottled up inside for a really long time. And now, in a perfect storm, it created this scenario where it could be unleashed in a way where it was heartbreaking for everybody. It was cinema. It was entertaining. It was logical and made sense while still keeping the New Day's rationale as entirely delusional. But it's believable based on their hardship over the last couple of years.
I think the fact that they were basically like twisting everything and telling Biggie like, "Oh yeah, you were out there spending time with your new girlfriend on your new job." By the way, did you know who his new girlfriend?
No, no, no. Oh,
Me
wait.
either. But it was
Wait.
me and his sister.
Yes. Okay. I have seen those Instagram posts. But yeah, I personally, I'm a big fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. I'm sure some people in your chat have. There is a scene where a guy is pouring his heart out, says that out of the, if he's gone, then the New Day can start from ground zero and they can stop the narrative of when will Big E be back. And I feel like this was kind of that clean slate beginning, and they mentioned it that that he was a burden because in every show that they go to, the only thing that would get asked is Big E ever going to get cleared? Is Big E going to get back? And I feel like removing Big E out of the equation entirely on this on-screen segment, telling us that we're done with you, allows the New Day to restart a new legacy that doesn't have this hovering question of will Big E ever come back. Now they can just do this on their own. And that's what they said, right? It's me and you and me. We're on our own. And then they dapped each other up. It almost felt like a symbolic new beginning for the New Day. And for that to really catch, Big E can't come back.
So you think like we're not going to see Big E right now, like at all, for God knows how long?
I don't think so.
Oh, it breaks my heart. But look, again, wishful thinking. I'm like, oh, maybe that's them telling us there's a possibility. But realistically, come on. Like, this is a serious issue. This is not just, a broken finger or whatever. Like, no, this is a neck injury, and we just can't be all like everything can't be a fairy tale ending. Which
What a new name could be for these guys. So I'm gonna lean towards they're probably going to keep the same name. There's just a lot of marketing power behind that name, just so much legacy as well. But maybe with the removal, like symbolic removal of Big E, it might warrant a new name to really demonstrate. Like a couple of weeks ago, Xavier Woods dressed up as an anime villain, Goku Black.
terrible.
The way that's insulting. The way you're saying it. There's an with Seth Rollins. That's a big money match for Cody Rhodes for sure.
I kind of hope that's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. We got Corey McCarthy here. Thanks so much to Big Mysterio versus comfortable with because Gunther is my.
Take the titles off these guys, please.
Well, since we're on the topic now, by the way, we did have Dominic Mysterio versus Gunther, and I was surprised for a second because the first couple of minutes of this match, we were seeing Dominic get way more offense on Gunther than personally that I'm comfortable with because Gunther is my champion, and I like Gunther to be like badass and mean and scary and dominant like the entire time. So I was getting nervous there for a second. I thought, like, what are they gonna do here? Are they gonna give me some surprises? But now one killer power bomb and Gunther takes out Dominic, gets get his free and he wins and all of that, right? But here's the thing: Finn Balor got involved in this, and of course Finn Balor was the one that was shooting his shot, trying to get a title shot against Gunther, and it's happening Saturday night's main event. How do you feel about it?
Seems rushed. It feels like they have not done a good enough job at making me believe that Finn Balor should be in this position within the last couple of months. I know that Finn Balor is the darling of the shoulda, woulda, coulda bandwagon of WWE fans, and I was on that bandwagon as well. It should have been Finn. I've been saying that for so long. This is a scenario where it doesn't feel like Finn should be here. Just kind of considering the way that he's been booked as what many wrestling fans call Finn Balor over the last couple of months, it seems a little bit out of left field, and I don't know how to feel about it. I almost feel like it should be a triple threat: Damian, Finn, and Gunther. I'd buy that more. You want to know why? Because I know exactly how this is going to end. It's going to be Damian Priest preventing Finn Balor from winning, thus continuing that story, thus preventing your precious Gunther from getting that important win that he needs to get his Bushido back.
That's what I'm going to call him now, my precious Gunther. That's it. That's a new name now, precious Gunther. But here's the thing: like, I don't think I want to go down that road again with Gunther and Damian Priest. Like, we've been there. We just saw that. Like, I feel like been there, done it. We're good. I don't want to see us go down that direction. And here's the thing: I would feel hypocritical because I have been wanting to see Finn Balor. First of all, I'm done with him being tag team champions as well. I also am over him being in the Judgment Day. Don't want that no more. I want Finn Balor to go off and be on his own and just kind of get some grit back. Like, get mean, get tough. Like, I feel like we've been seeing too much of like a corny Finn Balor on Judgment Day, and that's where I want to get away from that. I want to take Finn Balor seriously again. That's where I'm at. So part of me is thinking, okay, this match with him and Gunther could be the first step into seeing Finn Balor just a little bit more seriously than we have been, the way that he's been portrayed over on the end of the Judgment Day side.
So, what would it take for you to see Finn Balor more seriously? You said that you want to see that. What would it take? Is it a victory over Gunther? Is it a victory over Damian Priest? What brings Finn Balor back to the pedestal that you're talking about?
All right, so I hate to be a jerk, but less promos. Less promos. Because sometimes I feel like Finn Balor's promos, they just don't hit. So less promos for Finn and something very, very simple, Santi. One simple thing: more wrestling matches where we go out and we see the guy that why so many people were like in love with him, right? And once he kind of gets back into the rhythm of going out there and having these banger matches, then you know what we want to do? What we want to see? The demon return. And rebrand, not how do I say this? The last time we saw the demon was all of that crazy shenanigans stuff with Roman Reigns, where they had did the lights, and I don't even know. It's just so
Oh, we had
terrible.
Edge Mania 39 too. With
That
the
is
staples. Yeah.
I don't want that. I want the demon to be back, but the demon to be cool again. And I want that image to be out there of like, oh shit, like we're back with Demon Finn Balor and we mean serious business and it's not goofy anymore. It feels awesome. And that's what I want to see. Less promos, more matches for Finn.
I think like the equation is already there. Do you remember when Finn Balor went down to NXT during the pandemic?
Yes, actually, very briefly though.
Give me that. Like that guy was a bad dude. I love that Finn Balor. We've never gotten that Finn Balor on the main roster. That is a dude I believe was a bad man. And then if you, like you said, if you rejuvenate that Finn Balor and then you tack on the Fiend as like the cherry on top to this rejuvenated version of Finn Balor, I think I would buy in as well. But right now, I'm not bought in, Denise, which is why I'm not feeling this match versus Gunther and Finn Balor. I'm not on board yet.
I'm gonna be on board only for the simple fact that I'm seeing this as step one, baby steps. Eventually, I want to see him in there. I mean, throwing him with Pete. Oh gosh, I haven't mentioned Pete Dunne after what happened tonight, but Pete Dunne. I want to see him with Pete Dunne again. I want to see him in there with guys like Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser, and of course Luther, who we are going to see him in there with. But now that I'm on the topic, Pete Dunne, man, they had him lose to R-Truth tonight in a very, very quick match. I don't even know what to say. I'm a big Pete Dunne fan, and I take him incredibly seriously because I think he's a phenomenal wrestler. However, it's been a minute since he's been able to showcase that, and I still go back to this match with Sheamus that he had. I really thought when he was feuding with Sheamus that it should have been Pete Dunne to go over in the end because I thought he needed it a whole lot more.
I 1,000% agree. By the way, on Pete Dunne should have won the feud against Gunther. Not Gunther. Ooh, that's overstepping here against Sheamus. I mean, Sheamus beating Pete Dunne didn't do anything for him, but Pete Dunne beating Sheamus would have elevated him for sure to perhaps being a mainstay of like that top mid card. But now, like this is a struggle. I mean, I guess he's getting a reaction, which is good, but it's not the greatest type of reaction to get with people just like chanting the name that you don't like. It's literally Cody Rhodes, Stardust hating being called Cody Rhodes all over again. It's just the same thing.
And I was happy when they moved forward. When they were like, oh yeah, he's done being Butch and he's done again. Like that felt good.
Yeah, this gimmick, if that's what we want to call it, you can't scale off of that. Where does it go from there?
Big guy Butch. What the fuck have they done to Pete Dunne?
Just being
Why
relegated
they took off
to
Butch?
R-Truth
This
comedy
shit
matches.
is
It
off.
can't
Change the
get elevated
fucking name.
beyond that. So we need to move away from that. I'm not on board with this "Don't Call Me Butch" story arc.
Yeah, we're like getting over it already. So let's move on. Alrighty, we got Terrence Johnson here who says when Finn said title, I said your tag team title, idiot. It's true, like he's out here not even defending the tag team titles that Adam Pearce brought up, and it's like, come on, you know, that is exactly like first defend those, and then let's start talking about you doing something else. But it kind of feels like maybe they might be stalling for Gunther. I think they do have some big plans for him, but it's probably just gonna take a second. So that's why we're finding him in these three matches with Priest. That's where we're finding him in this thrown together match with Finn Balor. So that's probably why. But we got Soundwave 80s here who says World 100.
Nope, don't like
Nope.
it. Day Night Raw, that was goofy. There was a moment where like CM Punk's first swing looked like the weakest, slowest.
Like I didn't see it. I'm blinded to that. Looking at this bracket here, what are your predictions? Who do you think we're going to be seeing in the finals and ultimately winning and becoming the first women's intercontinental champion?
Something tells me that it's gonna be, and I know people are gonna groan, I think it's gonna be Raquel Rodriguez. I think
Dude,
that they.
yeah, I think
I
so too.
and part of the reason why I say this is because this was like the first night where I was like, oh, she is a badass. Because for so long, since her return, she's been like cosplaying as a badass, but then getting clowned by Rhea Ripley in every corner. But this was the first time that Raquel did run, stood toe to toe with Rhea, and beat down Rhea. So maybe this is the rejuvenation of Raquel and Diesel. I've been trying to get Raquel over as a name. It hasn't worked. I've been trying to get Raquel over. So I'm seeing kind of like the signs of them trying with Raquel here. And on the other side, I could see it being Lyra Valkyria.
So I'm gonna bring up the chart here because I needed to visually explain things to me. But when I look at Zoe, Raquel, and Kaden, yes, I see Raquel getting that win. And so Dakota Kai and Raquel, I feel like Dakota Kai, of course, she was injured, so she came back. I do want to see her get that momentum, but like you said, right now Raquel's alliance with Liv Morgan really makes me feel that she's going to defeat Dakota. On the opposite side, I see Lyra winning her match, and I actually see Natalia winning her match. Seeing Lyra and Natalia, and I don't know, I'm thinking Raquel versus Lyra in the finals is just kind of the way that this is all looking like it might end up.
Can I say something about that bracket? You don't have to pull it up. When I saw that bracket, I was like, great. And maybe I'm being a bit of a buzzkill here. I was like, holy smokes, the SmackDown women's side is so much more stacked than this. So much more stacked. And this brings it into like a stark, like reality, finally like getting that visual where I'm like, ooh, yeah, the SmackDown women's division kind of clears this.
I was sort of feeling that way even like before they brought out the bracket because honestly, it's just been like the overall booking too. Because when you think of SmackDown, you think of okay, you got Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, you got Bayley, you got all of these people, right? All of these different parties and things that are going on. When I thought about the Raw Women's division, my brain said Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and everybody else is kind of a blur.
Yeah, you're actually bringing up a really great criticism of Monday Night Raw for the last several months, which is that the women's main event scene and in tandem the women's world title has been stuck in a vacuum. I've been saying this term for quite a while, which is just Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and that means that that world title has not been used to elevate the rest of the women's division. And unfortunately, it seems like it's left up to the newly.
See, I don't know because look, you make some great points. It doesn't need it. It's gotten very personal between Liv and Rhea. But I feel that given that Liv was bragging so much about taking everything away from Rhea, wouldn't it be kind of bad if Rhea never got her revenge on Liv in order to actually get the championship?
To really honestly, just a pairing. It is a combination.
To take him back. But yes, okay. I do think she should get that championship back.
You're saying that he did her dirty, but it's dirty Dominic. That's like complaining when water makes something.
With
name me like two things that Rhea Ripley did for Dominic Mysterio that Liv didn't do for him. A necessarily means Triple H, they being the higher power. What? Because, yep.
All right, now let's go. God damn it. Well, they ended that pretty easy.
These three that they are conveying to. Well, could you not have bought it? With
I mean, I think she's progressed nicely. She was having some real shitters back on 205 Live and NXT Level Up, and I felt like it was very unfair to her that she was put in the position to have those types of matches on TV in front.
Not Shane McMahon. CM Punk comes out, big pop from the crowd. Waiting for him. Just another path to the main event of WrestleMania.
Wait until
Now let's see what Solomon had to say.
going to be doing next. Now that War Games is in the rear view, what's next for CM Punk? And so it began with that opening segment. Seth Rollins comes out. Every time you get Punk and Rollins in the ring together, it's some of the best Seth Rollins content that you're going to get on television because he's not out there dancing around and cackling like a hyena and acting like a jackass. He's out there because he's pissed off. He does not like CM Punk, and that hatred comes out. You get some great fucking television with Seth Rollins when he is in the ring with CM Punk. So tonight we had an interaction between them that clearly tells you that we are heading towards a WrestleMania showdown between these two. The one that we were supposed to get this year but did not get because Punk went and got himself hurt. And that set the tone for the rest of the episode tonight. Some great stuff. I can't wait to dive into it here that we got in the opening segment of the show. But then we had the New Day. And the New Day has been teasing dissension in the ranks now for several weeks, even the last couple of months. But they're also celebrating 10 years together. And find me another faction in wrestling that has had the longevity and the success that the New Day has had. You won't be able to. They don't exist. And it's a pretty incredible thing that these three guys were put together. They didn't know what to do with them. So they ended up together, and it changed their lives. It changed their careers for the better. But the last few years, it just feels like, all right, it's kind of played out. They've done all they can do. They've won. I mean, how many tag team titles has the New Day won? You know, they've wrestled all the teams there are to wrestle, and they've done it all. And at some point, you got to switch things up a little bit. And so the last several weeks, we've seen Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods going at each other's throats, arguing and bickering, just not on the same page. And you knew that this was going somewhere, but you didn't quite know exactly where would they have the balls to actually break up the New Day and turn them heel. Obviously, one big element missing from this group has been Big E for the last couple of years because he got hurt and he's not medically cleared. And so the New Day went from a trio to a tag team. That changed the entire dynamic. Well, that played into what we saw on the show tonight because I think whatever I was expecting this to be, and I would say whatever most people were probably expecting to get out of the segment, it was very, very different in its final form, and for the better. I love what they did tonight. We had Big E on the show. I don't think that's really much of a surprise. You had to expect that he was going to be there. But this was one of the more compelling heel turns that I can remember seeing in a very long time. And unique in that there was no physicality. This was not a heel turn in the traditional sense where somebody gets ambushed, somebody gets viciously attacked.
It was a swerve.
You know, nothing like that.
And
Because
them
Big E
turning
is
each other,
not
they turned on
cleared
Big
for
E.
physicality, and so they weren't going to be able to do anything like that with him. But we got a heel turn from the New Day on this show. And I thought they did it in a brilliant way. And this now makes 2 weeks in a row, by the way, that the New Day has been involved in the segment that I think stole the show here on Raw. When was the last time that happened? You know, that the New Day had the best segment on the entire show, let alone 2 weeks in a row. But again, it all comes down to the story. The story that opened the show, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and that gave way to a separate little side story with Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. And then the New Day stuff has been developing, and they've given it time. And then you get rewarded. That's what you expect. That's what you hope for when you have a story like that playing out over a period of time. And tonight took that story and just sent it in a direction that I think a lot of people were not
not expecting. But I thought that was fantastic what they did, and we're going to get into that as well. The other thing they did tonight, they also established the next challenger for Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship now that he has beaten Damian Priest. And so what's next for Gunther? We got the answer to that question tonight. We also now have a date not only for that match, but for Io Sky's championship match with Liv Morgan that she's finally going to get. We now know the time and the date and the place that will be taking place. We also have the start of the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. First round triple threat match. It's the same exact format that they're doing for the U.S. title on SmackDown. So that kicked off tonight as well. This was one of the best episodes of Raw all year long. That's what I like to say. I want to come on here and tell you that I saw one of the best episodes all year, not one of the worst. These episodes are the most fun to talk about and to dissect, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And I'm glad you're with me. This is the Monday Night Raw review. It is December 2nd, 2024. I am the Solid Monster. I have to tell you, I've been looking straight ahead into the camera, and I've been addressing you here for the last several minutes. And in the corner of my eye, I see all kinds of colors, vibrant colors in the chat. And I don't know what's going on in the chat, although evidently the goal that I set has already been met. Holy shit. I don't know what's been going on in the chat with all of the super chats. I'm just a sexy boy. $50 super chat. Wow. David, I got a whole review to do, and you're going to render CM Punk in the Elimination Chamber. He just had a Hell in a Cell match. He went from Hell in a Cell to War Games. Does he really need to be locked inside of another structure? I think the Royal Rumble would be the safer bet. He said he's got a favor or two in his pocket that he can call upon to get to where he needs to go. Now let's stop there for a second. On SmackDown on Friday night, there was a cinematic sit-down with Punk and Roman Reigns. And at the very end there, Punk flat out said that Paul Heyman owes him a favor. He didn't tell us what it is. Heyman wouldn't even tell Roman Reigns what the favor was. He said, let's get through War Games first, and then we can talk about it. And by the way, let's see what happens on Friday, because now War Games is over. And if I'm Roman Reigns, I'm going to come out on Friday, and I'm going to want to know what that favor was. So we'll see if they tell us. My theory about it, I talked about this in my Survivor Series, is that Punk is going to go after the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw at some point this upcoming year. Maybe it's for the Rumble, maybe it's for WrestleMania, but he's going to want to go after the World Heavyweight Championship.
Stay on SmackDown.
And I think the favorite
You want to do
very well
McIntyre.
be
Stay on
that he
SmackDown
wants
with me.
Paul Heyman to help him and to be his wise man. He wants him to be, his consigliere on Raw, just like old times. And he wants to tap into his wisdom and his strategy to help him on his way to become World Heavyweight Champion. I could be completely wrong about that, but there's no other obvious favor at the moment that I can think of. So that to me is what would make the most sense. So it was very interesting that Punk said he wants to win the Rumble or he wants to win the Elimination Chamber because he wants to be the world champion, and he's got a favor or two that he might call it. I think that gives that theory some credence, but we'll see. But anyway, he kept on talking here, and he was interrupted in mid-sentence. And so have I. I've been interrupted mid-sentence, but in the best possible way. Pity. Said Punk had just come out of Hell in a Cell with Drew McIntyre, and he had pity for him. It was his mistake, he said. After Saturday, seeing him stand there next to Roman Reigns, it became clear to him that it was time to rectify his mistake. He removed his jacket. He had some kind of weird fishnet top. 6 months ago, Rollins was a champion. He had something that Punk wanted. Now he has nothing. You have nothing that I want. Punk knows what's in his future. He goes, and kid, you're not it. You've been thinking about me for 6 months. I don't think about you at all. Says, I've got things to do in this business, so stay out of my business. And at this point, as Punk was speaking, he was taking steps closer and closer and closer to Rollins to the point where they were virtually nose to nose. At this point. So Rollins said, "You talk too much, and you don't listen enough. This is my business." And he shoved Punk down on his ass. And Punk looked shocked, like he was shocked by this as he got shoved to the mat. And so he got back to his feet and Rollins now was squaring up, like he's ready. He's like, "Come on, he's ready for a fight." And CM Punk, as much as I love this segment, I will say this is quite ridiculous. CM Punk gets up, and I don't want to reenact this because I don't even think I could look as bad as he did here, but he starts throwing shots like he was back in the UFC. And he connected with about as many shots he connected with in the UFC, which is to say none. But he starts he's like flailing around like he's, ready to fight this guy. So all of a sudden, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, they hit the ring and they break them up. Sammy loves to talk. He was answering some question that somebody asked him, and Punk basically interrupted in the middle of it. And I don't know, there were a few moments there where Sammy would look over, and he wasn't really smiling. He would just kind of look over at Punk and he looked kind of annoyed by him. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's get this guy out of here. Okay, the last time he was in a scrum, it didn't end well. So Punk just get up and leave, and he did. He took his desserts, and Jey Uso went off. So they're outside the ring. And Rollins kept telling him, "Come on, am I your business now?" So Punk tried to slide back into the ring. And he only got his head back inside. And Rollins starts, kicking him and stomping on him a few times. So finally they get Punk out of there. And Rollins, tells Punk, Jay, both of you, go ahead, go run back to Roman. So Sammy now, but Jey Uso. So he takes issue with that. And he gets hot at Seth for talking shit about him. Rollins said, "You're right. You're right. Jay, right? Roman, they're family. I get it. They're family. But you're not." He's looking at Sammy now. He goes, "You're not. What's your excuse? Because you're not family. You and I are closer than you and Roman or you and Jay have ever been. We came into this business together. Right? This is going back to the days of fucking Tyler Black and El Generico, right? These guys traveled the same roads up and down for 20 years. We're more family than you are with them. You think I wanted to team with this guy? I didn't want to team with him. I wanted to team with you, but you said no. Which is a fair point, right? No lies detected there. We saw it. You watched the show. Twice he rejected it. So he said, we wouldn't have had to team with CM Punk. You would have just said yes in the first place, but you couldn't because you're too damn stubborn. So Seth asked him, what did you want me to team with you guys to do? Exactly. Oh, that's right. You wanted me to help Roman Reigns, to help that monster regain his power. Sammy said, that monster, Roman Reigns, you created that monster. When you put a chair in his back 10 years ago. And see, this is part of what I love here. Because when you have these callbacks, this is what I mean when I talk about story and when you're, rewarded for story. You can go back in time and you can find these moments or these events, matches, whatever it might be. And you can tie it into current storylines. And I love when they're able to do that. And it's such a great point because it was Rollins who betrayed the Shield. And it was Rollins who planted that chair in Roman's back. I remember that moment well because, I was one of these people at home going, no, because I didn't want to see the end of the Shield. I still thought they had juice for a little while longer as babyface. But that's a moment, that's one of the biggest moments on Raw, right, in the last decade plus, the breakup of the Shield. And so you can easily look at that and go, you know what? He's not wrong. Right? Sammy's not wrong. Seth Rollins had just as much of a hand as anybody else in creating the version of Roman Reigns that we see today. Now, obviously, we didn't get the tribal chief immediately after Rollins did that, but it's all part of the evolution of the character. So I like that callback. He says, don't act like your hands are totally clean in all of this. And Rollins, he didn't. To his credit, he said that, look, I'm not acting like I'm completely completely innocent in all this, and I have apologized. And McIntyre, which was my favorite, probably in-ring promo segment on any show this year. This was as good as that one, if not better. If not better. This had even more like callbacks, and the thing I loved about that segment with Punk and McIntyre and Rollins, other than they had some really great burns in that segment, I would say the burns were probably better there than here. But what made that segment so great was how realistic the hatred was. It felt they did a great job. We got that element, and then they just took it in a whole other direction with Sammy and Rollins, and I just thought it was great. And so they've also introduced Jey Uso into this in a smaller part, and he would play a bigger part later in the show with another story that played itself out, which we'll get to. The other thing about this also, before I forget, nobody in this segment who talked sounded like they were full of shit. It's the Kevin Owens thing, where Sami Zayn was right in a lot of what he said, but so was Seth Rollins. So even though it looks like if anybody's going to go heel in this, I think it would be Rollins. Not necessarily, because things that Rollins was saying were also true. Right? In his mind, these are bad people. These are bad people. He doesn't want to associate with bad people. Roman Reigns is bad. CM Punk is bad. Out for themselves. I'm here breaking my back and busting my ass. I care about this place. I care about this brand. They don't. Right? I mean, everything he was saying made sense. And I like that. I appreciate that. Aspect of things. And Roman Reigns really hasn't changed. I've been telling you this for weeks. Clear as day, right? All Sammy wanted him to do was apologize to Jey Uso, and then he would be on their War Games. Well, Sammy's weak, so he ended up being on the team anyway. Roman couldn't even bring himself to apologize to his cousin. He's never apologized to anybody. He has alienated everybody on the roster, which is why nobody wanted to tag him. The dude is a fucking asshole. He's right. So why are people cheering Roman Reigns when he comes out? Oh, TC, they put their fingers up in the air, right? The dude's a douchebag. Nothing these two were saying is wrong. As is usually the case, maybe it's the fans who are the heels here. The fans are just cheering for these people. Because I guess they think they're cool. They think Roman's cool, but it's the same Roman Reigns that they were booing before WrestleMania. So it's just funny. Kevin Owens, though, I bring him up because Kevin Owens is in a similar situation on SmackDown where everything Kevin Owens is saying is true, even though he's the heel in that program because he dropped Randy Orton on his head. Everybody loves Randy Orton. But Kevin Owens speaks the truth. Speaks the truth. I love this segment, and that's a plot hole they're going to have to address at some point, is why Kevin Owens would have such an issue with everybody else associating with Roman Reigns and not, I don't know, his best fucking friend teaming with him in War Games. We're going to have to revisit this soon. They're going to have to address that soon because that's a huge, glaring, gaping plot hole that has not been brought up yet. Hopefully it will, but this segment gets a thumbs up. Channel, you picked a great night for it. Enjoy your...
Welcome.
With shipped same-day delivery.
Helped him as he partially and Emmy.
Alright, now let's watch JD from New York. Let's see what he had to say.
We got a damn good fucking show tonight, man. Really, really good stuff from WWE tonight. Killed it tonight. Story. I don't know how many times I gotta tell you, man. Story is everything. I say it every week. You guys know my MO. You guys know what I'm about. Long-term booking, long-term storytelling. You don't got it, you don't got shit. That's exactly what WWE did tonight, man. They have been planting the seeds very, very slowly for what we're seeing going into Survivor Series, which occurred on Saturday night. Not the best Survivor Series by a long mile. I mean, that the show was built around. And I think we all kind of anticipated the return of Big E Langston, also known as Big E. Big E returned tonight to WWE television for the first time since he broke his neck. The New Day have been planting seeds for this story for several weeks, months. And it all led to this 10-year anniversary, 10-year celebration segment for both Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, who have been without Big E for all of 2024. They hit hard times. It was a very rocky year for the New Day. They could not get on the same page for a lot of this year. They have not been tag team champions in many years. They were once the most overpushed tag team in the WWE, not named the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso. One of the most decorated tag teams in all of the company, in all of WWE history. And the New Day have been a feature on Monday night regularly the last 10 years. It's very difficult to do. Obviously, not minus the hiccups. Kofi's been injured. Xavier's been injured a few times. Big E, we know what happened to Big E. He's been out. And nobody really thought that he'd be back on WWE television ever again. Never mind, what we saw tonight. People are not giving him much hope to get clearance to get back into the ring and actually resume his career. After last week, everybody was anticipating this segment with the New Day because both Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston threw bombs at each other and basically, like, friends, best friends who were just separating and tearing apart at the seams, were throwing jab after jab after jab after jab at each other, where Kofi mentioned to Xavier Woods that he's not good enough on his own to win a singles championship like he and Big E were, because they were WWE champions and he was not. That he won the King of the Ring and Kofi Kingston had to help him win King of the Ring and even held his cape for him when he did. Xavier Woods threw the fabled 6-second loss to Brock Lesnar 5 years ago on SmackDown when they debuted on Fox. Kofi lost to Brock Lesnar in 6 seconds. Kofi's still not over that. I don't think he will ever get over that. Obviously, we heard about Kofi Mania and how Xavier basically took credit for Kofi and Kofi Mania. The reason why Kofi won the WWE Championship from Bryan Danielson was because of Xavier Woods. And he wouldn't be able to do it without Xavier. Kofi thinks he's a Hall of Famer. Before Xavier even joined the group, he took exception to all these jabs from Xavier last week, which brought us to tonight. That was the big blow-up last week. Obviously, the weeks leading to that blow-up, they've been losing matches, miscommunication, Xavier's getting frustrated, Kofi's getting frustrated. Kofi even gave Xavier the ball to run with and told him, all right, you want a quarterback? You call the plays, bro. Let's do it. And Xavier still couldn't get the job done, which partially proved Kofi right. Because if Xavier's the quarterback and he's calling the plays and he's the playmaker for the New Day and they still can't win, then everything that Kofi said about Xavier not being good enough kind of rings true. We come to tonight, and the one thing that I've been leaning on, and the one thing many people have been leaning on, is the fact that this story is very unpredictable. We don't know which way the wind is going to blow for Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston. It was obviously set up to a point where everybody was anticipating this split between both of them, and then goodbye. They both go their separate ways. No more New Day. I, for one, would have loved to see Xavier Woods be a singles performer. I think he's got breakout potential. I do think that he's not been given a fair opportunity to do the real singles push. Kofi has, Big E has, Xavier is not.
Nah,
He's tested the
okay,
waters a
Carter.
little bit
If
here
he
and
see,
there,
if he
but he
sees
hasn't
y'all
been given a
going
full-fledged
look
run like Kofi
and see
or Big
don't have a
E
problem.
throughout his WWE tenure.
But they want no one can't know. I'm trying to kill.
I would have loved to see that. And like I said, the one thing that people were hanging on was
Ain't no
the
king working with them.
unpredictability of
My
this
son, you're fine,
entire
though. Okay,
story
son
that
here
they've
with
been
them.
mapping out for
I know king
months.
working with them.
1 week you would figure
He's my
and watch
son,
Monday
that's why I
Night
know.
Raw
Okay,
and
why
make
is
the
son here
conclusion
with us?
that, well, looks like Kofi's turning heel.
You sure king ain't working
Looks
with
like
us?
Kofi's turning heel.
He's
Then
my
the next
son,
week they
that's why
kind
I
of
know.
swerve you
Okay,
and
why
go in
you
the
can't
opposite
find that
direction. Oh man, after watching the next week's Monday Night Raw, you kind of get a feeling that Xavier's done with it. They both gave you reasons. WWE wrote this story and gave the fans multiple different reasons, good reasons, why Kofi could turn heel and why
We
Xavier
kill them all.
could turn heel.
We kill them all and move on. Why
didn't
wait
know.
when all is over?
We didn't know
It's
what
off
all.
the
The
high until then.
unpredictability of it really,
You don't think it's something, but you don't
really captivated people's interest. And then we get to
One
tonight.
thing we kill them all. No one's in.
And we get the New Day segment. Everything is fancy, and they got a big box of cereal, and they got New Day memorabilia like you were walking through a New Day wing in the Hall of Fame. And they got the crown that Xavier won with King of the Ring, and they got pictures and plaques, and they got unicorns and rainbows, cereal, you name it. It was definitely New Day out on Monday night for this segment. They got the red carpet treatment. Fans in Everett, Washington were over the moon to see the New Day and celebrate with the New Day.
Father let you into our family business for a reason.
On Monday night for this segment, they got the red carpet treatment.
Hey, what the hell?
All of a sudden, Big E comes out. So good to see Big E back on WWE television. You could tell nobody knows Big E, obviously, here and anywhere on the web, the World Wide Web. But Big E and his Players Tribune article today. If you guys didn't read it, I urge you to go find it and go check it out. One of the most likable individuals you could probably ever come across. The positivity that he has as a genuine human being in all facets of his life, man, I'm kind of envious. Kind of jealous that he lives his life with that positivity and that upbeat attitude and that happiness every single day. Sometimes it's difficult to wake up, man. You don't want to wake up. You want to lay in bed all day. You don't want to attack the day like you should. People have bad days. People have many bad days, strings of bad days. I know I've been there. But to read him and what he's gone through to where he is now in his life, and he still keeps that same attitude, man. That is a quality that is just pure and, like I said,
okay, good.
I'm envious that I can't be like that, or my family and the people that I know can't be that way.
No, they were too easy.
It's just an eye
He'll
opener.
be suspended.
People like that do exist out there.
Green service.
So to see him back on WWE television, really,
if you don't,
I would be lying to you guys, all 3,200 of you in here now. I would be lying to you if I said I did not get a little watery eye seeing Big E out there. The way Big E projects his voice and the way he speaks, it's just very motivating. It's a very positive delivery from Big E. So when he's out there, obviously everything that this man was going to be saying since we last saw him, and now we know what he's been through. Everything that this man said, every word that came out of this man's mouth was going to strike you right here. Because everybody's happy to see him, and everybody's happy that he is looking great. Looks great. He did not want the New Day to end. Now, we're not going to end it that way. He explains himself. We'll get into detail what happened. We'll go over the dialogue a little bit later when we get to that particular part of the show. He explained himself, how the New Day was important to him, what it meant to him, what they sought the New Day to be, how they got started. Basically going over the fact that him and Xavier were basically on the cusp of being fired by Vince. Vince didn't have any real use for them besides the New Day. And then the New Day got over big And then that kind of changed Vince McMahon's mind on it all. And then the unpredictability happened. And I don't really think anybody saw this coming. Because Kofi, at the beginning of this segment, before Big E came out, told everybody that he spoke to Woods over the past week and that the news they were about to tell everybody is not going to be good news. They were basically going to go their separate ways and the New Day was going to be over. Big E came out to basically bring everybody back together. And then the unpredictability happened where both Xavier and Kofi both blamed Big E for the existing problems in the New Day. And they told him, after Big E exclaimed to them, I don't want to see this go to shit. We're going to do our thing like we usually do, and I am going to be on Monday Night Raw every single week until, this is the big part, until I'm medically cleared. Those words, we'll get back to that important aspect of his quote a little bit later, because that really gives you the idea of where he and his mentality is. I am going to be operating as your manager. So basically, he was going to be the positivity in the New Day's corner that they needed to stay together, to see this thing work itself out. No, they turned on him, man. Not physically. They turned on him emotionally. Like, you literally saw their character and demeanor change right live on television. That this went from sadness, this went to hope. It went from sadness to hope to just straight up anger and being a prick. You saw 3 levels of the New Day. 3 levels of Kofi and Xavier on Monday Night Raw tonight. They told Xavier that, oh, now you want to come back. Now you want to be back, and you want to be back every day. Where were you the entire year? Kofi even threw it in his face, saying, yeah, your neck, oh, my neck. Yeah, neck surgery, neck injury that you didn't even get surgery on. A neck injury that didn't even require you to get surgery. And then they brought up Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kurt Angle, putting his new love interest, his new girlfriend, before the New Day. All his new projects and all his new ventures in life before the New Day. Meanwhile, both Xavier and Kofi, when they needed him most, he wasn't there. And the reason for the New Day split is basically Xavier and Kofi blamed Big E for the current state of the New Day as we see it today. They left this man begging. This is it. This is how we're going to end it. This is how we're going to end the New Day. This is what you did to me on my return back. This is the thanks I get. This is what you're going to do. You're going to throw 10 years away. Big E was legitimately in the ring. He did not want to leave the ring, begging. He left the ring. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston basically shook hands and said, this is just us now. The New Day is just us. And the segment abruptly came to an end and they went to a commercial break. They didn't languish on Big E. They didn't focus on Big E. Camera didn't follow Big E and really get a glimpse of his emotions going to the back through the curtain. Never my thoughts that I think, yeah, we're going to turn on Big E. Well, they got you. Told you, man, the unpredictability of this angle really was the big selling point for a lot of people. Oh, Xavier's going heel. Oh, it's going to be Kofi. Oh, what about both of them? What about both of them just turning on Big E? What is the most dastardly, what is the most heel-like thing to do? It's probably what was discussed in the creative meeting when they went over this angle on this story. How do we make it the most effective? If we're going to go heel, how do we do it and just have it come off dastardly? Kofi turning on Xavier? Xavier turning on Kofi? Maybe. Maybe they don't turn heel on each other and they just kind of wait. And they kind of take a page out of the Bret Owen playbook back in 1994. 1993 going into 1990. Now we'll just turn on Biggie. Turning on Biggie is going to get everybody in the feels, man. They're going to pull on the heartstrings because everybody loves Biggie. How could you do Biggie dirty? Biggie's got the broken neck. Biggie's got a fucking career that may even be a career anymore. And we're going to turn on him. It's fucking brilliant. Just brilliant storytelling. This was great fucking television. This was some of the best television that WWE's produced all year. This is the best New Day story in their 10 years. This is the most excited anybody's been about the New Day. And they're great. But they haven't been super interesting. I think they'd be the first ones to tell you that, too. It almost felt like the WWE was passing them by and they were old news. They fit in the previous administration, but they didn't really find themselves in this new Paul Levesque administration yet. Now they have. Now they have. So the vibe that we got from this is they're blaming Big E and basically calling him a fraud. They basically called him out on his neck. But Big E said, I will be back on Monday Night Raw every single week to be your manager until my neck is cleared. Until I'm medically cleared. Until I'm medically cleared means that this man is working his way back to in-ring competition. And kudos to him, man. Don't know. I will never know. Nobody will ever know what that type of mind fuck will be. To go through what he went through and then come back and wrestle again, my first instinct would be, no, man, I'm not getting back in the ring again. This man is working towards an in-ring comeback. That's what he's doing. They blamed him. Now the story is Big E. The story now is Big E getting back at them. The story is Big E proving them wrong. You will see Big E again. You will see Big E back in the WWE ring. You will see Big E get medical clearance by WWE Medical. Big E will be in the Royal Rumble. That's my prediction. The story now is proving both Xavier and Kofi wrong. This is the most perfect way to handle Big E's absence. By blaming him and then him coming back and proving both of them wrong to a point where they end up getting back together when he's fully medically cleared and we get the New Day back 100% as strong as ever. The whole storyline is like a fairy tale. To see the sunshine, you got to go through a couple of rainy days, man. Right now, it's rainy days in the New Day. That rainbow and that big, great feeling of the warmth of the sun is Big E. That's going to be the saving grace of the New Day. They're not going to be heels forever. They're going to be heels in the moment right now. Because all those emotions that came back, you see Big E, and they immediately said, you know what? The reason for what we're going through right now, the reason for us being as weak as we are, is because we were waiting for you to get back. Everything that we did, we waited for you. And now you want to come back? Where the fuck were you? For the last 15 months. You watched us from afar struggle. And now you want to come back? When we're about to end this thing?
My name.
They feel like they had every reason to do what they did. The power of positivity is now the power of negative. I love it. This is why I always proclaim story is everything, man. When you don't got story and you don't have characters that you're emotionally invested in, the television that you produce means nothing. It means nothing. I don't want to bring them up every time I talk about what WWE does right and what they do wrong. You don't even need to say the name of the other place. You know what they're not doing right. And every time I see something like this, and every time I get emotionally invested, I mean, for the love of Christ, We're grown men and women in this fucking shack. 3,700 of you. Another few of you on Twitch who watched this man come out and watch the interaction between these three individuals that we've welcomed into our home for 10 years. And it hits you right here. And it makes you want to tear up. And it makes you want to just feel what they're feeling. If you don't got that type of storytelling, man, if you don't have that type of emotion, what do you got? You got nothing. And the funny thing is, this level of storytelling is only going to be better as we go on through the month of December. We get to that Netflix premiere on January 6th, and then we go into Saturday night's main event in January, and then the Royal Rumble. WWE is going to continue to throw several more logs on the fire, man, and that fire is going to be burning very, very, very hot. And you saw a little bit of that tonight. Monday Night Raw was better than Survivor Series, to be quite honest with you. Why? Not because it had better in-ring action than Survivor Series. Because they gave you a reason to care. They gave you story. I was more invested in the 2 hours that we got tonight than the 4 hours that we got on Saturday. Stories about Big E now. And there's no doubt in my mind that Big E is working his way back to be medically cleared. And he will be medically cleared next year. And that's going to be a great moment. CM Punk. CM Punk opened the show. Very happy to see CM Punk back on my television on Monday night. Feel like without him, there's just a huge gaping hole in the show. Something is missing fierce when he's not there. Which I guess you could mean that's a good thing of how important he is to the company. But it's also like, all right, well, why don't he came out and told everybody exactly what he wants. And he pointed to an imaginary WrestleMania sign that is not hung up yet, but it will be hung up as soon as we get to the Royal Rumble. A WrestleMania 41 logo. He's pointing to it as if it was there tonight on December 2nd. Obviously, the one man that has a problem with him and his desires to main event WrestleMania, because he doesn't agree with him being back. He doesn't agree with him and how he's handled himself being back. He doesn't agree with him teaming with Roman Reigns. Is Seth Rollins. And we got physicality. The first time since CM Punk's been back in WWE between Rollins and CM Punk. No injuries, no setbacks. Two guys that are 100% as healthy as they could be. By whom? Rollins is blaming Punk because he believes Punk is not to be trusted. Sammy thinks it's him, Seth, that attacked Jey Uso. Or was it a returning Scottish psychopath at the end of the show? Did Drew McIntyre, who returned tonight at the end of the Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn main event, was he the one who attacked Jey Uso? Maybe it was none of the people that we saw on television tonight. Maybe it was The Rock. Maybe The Rock attacked Jey Uso. And we won't find out till we get to January 6th. It's too easy to blame Drew McIntyre. We'll go over one of the primary reasons why I think Drew McIntyre is being considered as the attacker of Jey Uso.
Are we really going back to Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso and Sami Zayn? We've been there, done that. Because we got that last year in November or December, I think, with Drew McIntyre going after Jey Uso. We still blaming Jey Uso for the bloodline called acid, screwing him in Cardiff 2 years ago. I think we already seen Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. And did McIntyre beat Sami Zayn? Didn't take him out? And Sami Zayn was off tailbone for like a month until he came back in the Rumble this year. I'm not interested in seeing that again. I don't want to see that. And now this, and if it does happen, it should be a filler feud. But that's just kind of lame. Like that's the best thing to do with Drew McIntyre, to feud with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Shouldn't Sami and Jey be on SmackDown? Okay, we still got We still got the Bloodline storyline. We still got the Bloodline going down. They should be Roman Reigns. Why they want to why? And what did Drew McIntyre do? Because he can't feud with Punk. The feud's over. He can try to go after Gunther, or he can try to maybe go after Braun Breaker. I'd be interested in seeing him go after Braun Breaker. That's more interesting.
And he's back tonight. And Monday Night Raw fucking cooked. Story was cooking tonight on Monday night. And we're going to go over all. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on this Monday Night Raw.
Oh, you know, it wasn't Drew McIntyre. It certainly wasn't me. I think you know who it is.
Oh my goodness. Way better than TK on Wednesday nights. Long-term booking. OTS for life. Follow me up. Multiple roads you can take to get there, and ways you can finish your story. He says that with an extra.
Alright, now let me go back to my Monday Night Raw review here. Dakota Kai determined to captain the first single title. We got backstage segment with R-Truth and Alpha Academy cheer Akira Tozawa dance. The full recap of the show, 19 minutes. Wysis with Bond Biggie partner with Bonds. The Wysis accept Kieran Cross's match challenge. We will be seeing the Wysis versus the Final Testament in an 8-man tag team. The Final Testament and the Miz against the Wysis next week. So we will be seeing that. I think they might end the feud. Same as they attacked by Drew McIntyre. I think it is Drew McIntyre attacking them. It just makes sense. Even though, like, why should we see McIntyre involved in that feud?
Again, one of the craziest segments.
Well, I might well end my video pretty soon. I think, wait, hold on.
Who do you think is responsible? And Zayn said, I'm about to go to the ring and kick that person's ass. So clearly the implication being it was Seth Rollins. And that led into the main event, which was Sami Zayn one-on-one against Seth Rollins. Rollins had on one black boot and one white boot, and that's still the least ridiculous that he has looked all year. Zayn went for a haluva kick, leaning up against the ropes, looking at Seth as he's leaving, but you could hear a commotion in the background. Anytime you get like a tight camera shot, my first thought was Kevin Owens. Because I keep coming back to that logic gap. And I actually thought, and I still think Kevin Owens could be the culprit who attacked Jey Uso. But it wasn't Kevin Owens who attacked Sami Zayn in the ring. He turned around into a Claymore kick from a person dressed in a hoodie. Oh, gee, I wonder who it could be. Who would deliver a Claymore kick to somebody? I love how when he finally pulled the hood down to reveal that it was, of course, Drew McIntyre, that then people reacted. Like, you couldn't fucking figure out who it was, from the very start. But yes, it was Drew McIntyre, and that's how they went off. And so there's your likely attack, right? That's who they want you to think. They want you to think it was Drew McIntyre. That's the easy answer. It could just as easily be a red herring. And I'm throwing Kevin Owens out there as a possibility. Let me think about it, right? No reason that Owen shouldn't have an issue with Sami Zayn, just like he has an issue with Cody Rhodes. It also makes sense that Sami would attack somebody like Jey Uso because Jey Uso was helping Roman Reigns in War Games, right? Kevin Owens will always have an issue now with the Bloodline after what they did to him. So him attacking Jey would actually make sense. Just don't be so sure automatically that it's Drew McIntyre. I'm keeping Kevin Owens there as my wild card possibility for this spot. If it is Drew McIntyre, if it's as simple as, yep, I'm the one who attacked Jey Uso, then it would appear that he is targeting anybody who is associating with CM Punk. And I don't know how I feel about that, because that feud has already run its course. The blow-off was Hell in a Cell. I thought maybe what I would have done is I would have arranged for a trade, and I would have found a way to get McIntyre on SmackDown, because how could he and Punk coexist on the same show? They're keeping him on Raw. But you can't just continue the Punk and McIntyre stuff because it's already been done. You've already paid it off. So I don't really know if I like that idea, if that's the logic behind it. I don't know if I like that idea very much. One thing I will say, it's great to have McIntyre back. I know they gave him some time off. He was dealing with, attending to some family stuff. His family's over in Scotland. And so he got some time off. He wasn't hurt or anything like that. Well, I mean, I guess he had the staples or stitches in his head from the Hell in a Cell match, but that was fucking 2 months ago. But
Drew
it's
McIntyre would
great to
give
have
some
him
time off.
back, and he's a
After the
big gun
great
that
feud
they
and
have
the
now
great
back on
match,
the Raw brand going
Drew
into this
McIntyre and
Netflix
Punk will
series.
take some time off.
And we
McIntyre
will
will take
see.
some time.
We will see if he is targeting people associated with CM Punk or if there's some other
We'll
rationale
give you
behind it.
a month.
They left us with a lot of
We'll give
questions.
you a
There
month.
were a lot of very newsworthy developments on this show tonight.
A month.
And I thought it was one of the best Raws all year. It got me excited now for where these stories are going to go moving forward. And the best part about it is, again, this is a time of year where in the past they have tended to phone it in. There's not a whole lot. Not saying there haven't been some 95s or 96s. I just don't remember.
He says they couldn't have done any of this without each other and also the fans. So fans chanted Big E, Big E. And Xavier says, yeah, we love him too. Xavier says, what they're about to tell the fans is not the fans' fault. He says they have nothing but love for each one of them. Kofi said he and Xavier have talked, and he says they both feel when it comes to the New Day going forward, and they were about to call it quits. Big E, his non-New Day theme music hit, and Tessitore said the timing couldn't have been better. Big E walked out, looked snazzy in a nice suit. Wade Barrett says he's been on the WWE PLE kickoff shows, and they haven't seen him on Raw or SmackDown in nearly 4 years. I don't know where he said 4 years. Maybe he was talking about himself. He says Kofi and Xavier haven't felt like New Day without Big E by their side. Big E thanked the fans. He said he wished he was there under different circumstances because watching Kofi and Xavier argue and bicker and say hurtful things to each other, Big E says that troubled my soul, something deep. He says 10 years ago, all they had were each other. He said Kofi was mulling over retirement because he had this passion for pro wrestling, and that passion was beaten out of him. He told Xavier they were nearly fired together. Said the scariest moment in his career, they were both at the hospital, bedside, making sure he was good. He says he was in a neck brace a few months after Kofi's daughter was born, and he held her. He says after Xavier won King of the Ring, he was the first to greet him as he spilled the tears onto his shoulder because it was a lifelong dream of his to win King of the Ring. Big E says until he is medically cleared to return to the ring. Until he is medically cleared to return to the ring. It's the one big caveat in this entire segment, the dialogue. You're going to pick apart that line until I'm medically cleared. Big E told you that he is working feverishly to get medically cleared. Big E will be back in the WWE. There's no ifs. There's no ands. It's a win. When it happens. Until he is medically cleared to return to the ring, he's going to remind them exactly who they are. He says he will be there every week to cheer them and uplift them and serve as their manager. New Day Rocks. New Day Rocks. Xavier said, now? Now? You waited all these months. You waited after watching what they've been going through. E, you left us. Man, this turned dark very quick. This turned from hopeful to fucking dark. You left us. Biggie's like, I broke my neck. I had my neck broken. Kofi says, you left us, E. It's like I'm watching the fucking Twilight Zone. Yeah, you broke your neck, Kofi says. So what? He said Steve Austin broke his neck and he came back. Kurt Angle broke his neck. He came back. Same with Edge. Xavier says they left the light on for him and he never came home. Big E was obviously bothered by this. Kofi asked if, as big and strong as he is, he never had surgery on that injured neck. Could he really not have returned to the ring? Kofi says he's met with doctors. Sure. Big E's like, I met with doctors, I had scans, x-rays, rehabilitation. Xavier said he tore his Achilles tendon off the bone and had to have surgery, and I was back in 9 months for you. Kofi says if he really truly cared about them, he'd have his back a long time ago, clapping by their side, galvanizing them. He says he chose his new life, his new projects, his new girlfriend, and his new desk job over them. Xavier says, do you even realize the burden you have become to us? Says everyone talks about how much they miss Big E. He said they miss him too, obviously, but he doesn't miss them enough to want to be back. Kofi says their philosophy was the brotherhood above everything else. He said E, broken neck or not, chose himself over them. Xavier says they should stop teasing everyone and tell the truth. You are never going to be medically clear. Boom. There is your story. Right there. You are never going to be medically cleared. Now Big E all of a sudden has a story after his brothers turned their backs on poor Big E. And since that's the case, why don't you get the hell out of this ring and get back to your desk where you belong? Xavier says, if we need you, we'll call you. Big E says he wouldn't let it end that way after a decade of the New Day. He says they can fix it. He offered to hug his brothers. Kofi put his hand up to block Big E. Xavier turned away. Big E muttered like that. Just like that. It's over. Fans chanted, Big E rocks. Big E rocks. Big E left the ring. Kofi turned to Xavier to face him face to face. Xavier then looked at Kofi and said, it's just them now. I thought everything about this was fucking good. This was great. You had the emotion in Big E with the real life story in Big E being there. And they turned it into a story. They turned it into a story because he is going to be medically clear. For all we know, he is medically clear. We don't know. And they're just letting this play out. We're waiting for this to play out. I did not know if Xavier was going to turn on Kofi or Kofi was going to turn on Xavier. They got us, and they both turned on Big E. Which, in this case, now looking back at it and looking at all the weeks of television, some may say, well, they teased us with one turning on the other, and they teased all these problems. Did they waste our time? No, the answer is no. The answer is no. They told you in the promo exactly what they did. Up until this show, during the week, they talked. They talked. And then when Big E came out, they were about to call it quits. They were about to end the New Day. But when Big E came out, they didn't expect him to be there. But when Big E came out, and when Big E uttered the words, until I'm medically cleared, I'm going to be in your corner. So they were going in a direction from the weeks of story that we've been shown on television. They were going in that direction. But then, you know, people are like, did they waste our time? It's like we expected one to turn on the other, and here they turned on Big E. It's like the last few months of television were a waste of time. No. Nobody expected Big E to come. But when they saw Big E and then they heard Big E, then it became like light bulb went off in their head. Now you want to come back. So they turned their indifference and they turned their decision into frustration towards Big E. And now the story is, until I'm medically cleared. Nah, you ain't getting medically cleared. We all know that's not the case. You'll never be medically cleared. So now it's about Big E being medically cleared, and he's going to prove both Kofi and Xavier wrong. And then obviously they're going to end up feeling bad because they didn't anticipate him being back ever, and then they're going to get back together. But I mean, in this 10 years, has the New Day ever been as interesting as they are now? No. And they had some bangers. The Usos against Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. They've had bangers, man. But this is the richest story that they've told collectively. It's funny enough, it's not with anybody else on the roster. The story, the rich story, the captivating story that has us emotionally is with them. It's about them. Not them against anybody else. Not a title. It's them and the love that they have for each other. Their whole group is built on the power of positivity. The whole group is built on brotherhood. Started out great, then they struggled. Started out great, struggled. Injuries, Big E's neck. Injuries, struggle. They can't find that winning formula anymore. The brotherhood is confused. The brotherhood ain't there. Big E went down with an injury, so it's easy to take their anger out on him because he hasn't been on television. Now he shows up, wants to be their manager. Fuck you, man. No. Where were you the last 15 months? You know, we came back anytime you want to. We're here. You saw us struggling. You were struggling. Where were you? Now it's about Big E getting back, Big E getting clearance, Big E in the Royal Rumble, Big E getting his WrestleMania moment with his brothers, and then the New Day gets WrestleMania moment and everything is back to normal. Power positivity will shine through this dark, stormy cloud that is hanging over the New Day right now. This was excellent television. Excellent, excellent, excellent television. Yes, big emotion, says Adam Kahn. Absolutely. This was great. And everybody wondered where this story was going after Odyssey Jones got fired and him taking the place of Big E, right? I don't know if this was an audible or not, if this was the original vision that they had from the get-go before Odyssey Jones joined and then he got fired. They just went back to the original vision. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out after the fact, but the New Day being heel, I'm gonna get on board. Because you can't turn heel on Big E, man. At this stage of his life, at this stage of his career, knowing what that man went through, It was executed perfectly. Xavier turning on Kofi and Kofi turning on Xavier, one way or the other would have been it's fine. I could see both of them, doing the deep.
So if I were to test these Kofi's movements, your incredible passing range.
Karrion Kross says in his career he's done some awful things to people that he's not apologetic for. So he has forgiveness for those who do things to him.
Well, I might want to just end the video.
What is up, everybody? Welcome.
Well, hold on.
The fire. Now he'll make sure they burn in TikTok. I would have preferred to see this at Survivor Series in a straight up 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination match, but here we are. We're getting this next week on Raw. Straight up 8-man tag, and that's what they're going. I hope it delivers. Because God only knows the Wyatts need something exciting, and the Final Testament, they need to feel important. Because they don't feel important coming out of this, I don't know where we're going. Gunther and Dominic Mysterio, 1-on-1. It looks like Gunther got his match. He went to Adam Pearce and got his match with Dom, Dirty Dom. Match went 7 minutes, non-title, obviously. Gunther patted Dominic on the head, crowd laughed because, basically Dominic.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video. I made the video long enough, maybe a little bit too long. But until then, hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with more. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. I'll see y'all later.